Hello everyone. Today we're going to go over my app that I made that's called the Microsoft Team/Group Permission Tool. Okay, this tool is mainly used for if you are, adding people to multiple teams, or you want to add multiple people to a team. This tool works really well because if you do it one at a time within teams, it takes forever. Even with PowerShell, just great amount of time goes invested in it, and in the end, it is faster, but it is not time effective. Okay, this tool takes all that extra time you do to set up those PowerShell tools, or going through your admin and going through Azure to set up that stuff. This makes it so you can do it yourself. Okay. Now this is Teams. As you can see, I have multiple teams here. Now keep in mind, this tool does not only do Teams, it does any 365 group that's in Azure. Okay. So I'm gonna bring my browser into the window here so you can see it. And as you can see, this is what we're building at the end. Okay. So when you open it up, it's going to show a listing of all your teams on the left side that you own. Okay, you cannot add people to groups that you do not own. If you're a member, you cannot do it. Okay, and I kind of did little instructions along the way so you know what you're doing. So the first step is to first select your teams that you want to add the user to. Select one at a time by clicking the plus sign to the right of it. Also, you'll notice that there is a there's a person icon next to it too. If you want to see who's in the group already, that's a way you can do it too. You click on that icon, it'll open up another window, and it'll show all the people that are members of that team. For instance, okay, so let's go down here. Let's go ahead and play my app. Oh my god, I hate when it does that. Alright, so when you open this up, let's go down to Line Manager, right? So if you click on the little person thing here, you'll see that it brings up the team membership of whichever team you selected or group you selected, and then it gives you the group ID, and it gives you the number of personnel that's in here, and it lists the personnel. And if you want to remove them, you just got to hit the little delete thing here. Okay. Now, if you want to add a person to these different groups, right? So like you want to add them to this one. When you hit plus, you'll notice that it pops up over here. You hit plus again. You notice that it's disabling the plus sign once it's there. Okay. If you delete it, it will be active again. It's just so it's easier to manage, and we do not want you putting multiple instances of the same name in here. And that's why I did that. Okay. And then you go number 2, enter the names of selected, add the name or names you want to hit the selected above. Now you can only do one at a time, but you can add multiple people. Okay, so you go up here, say I want to add myself. Okay, you select it, and I forgot to turn the multi thing off. Why did my add button not show up? Alright, so sorry about that. These two buttons had the wrong collection pointed towards them, so it didn't show up like it's supposed to. What you're going to do is, of all the people you want to add, you put your one name in first, you hit the little person add button here, it'll pop it down here, and it writes a collection of it puts this name on all the teams that you selected up here. Okay, now let me go add a second. Now keep in mind, if you add more after the fact, you want that person in those too, you need to go ahead and put their name back in here and add them again. Oops. You gotta select their name first. I gotta click that thing. Alright, so now it'll have all 3. Alright, so once you do your first person, you go add your second person. Okay, I'm only have these 2 accounts, so alright, and then hit add. It'll add the dummy account with all 3 things. So right now I should have at least six things in there. If there's duplications, that's fine, because it just tried to add them twice. It might give you an error, but it'll still add them all the same. Okay, so if we come out of play, you'll see in co-users, if you open up the table, you'll see that it has, see, this was the, it didn't add anybody during that time, but the rest of these have all the information you need. Now, if you want to make that person an owner, you just got to click this box and it'll make them an owner. And the is owner right here will turn to true. Okay, it's just letting the flow that's going to write these things in, that then so it knows to make him an owner or not. Okay, it's going to make him a user first, or a member first, and then it's going to make him an owner, because you can't be an owner unless you're a member already. Okay, so, and then once you're done, you hit add user to all groups. It'll run for a second, and then once you see the dot stop going up top, then it's done. And you'll notice it cleared out the teams, it cleared out the user, and it's done. Now, the other thing I want to show you is the bulk add tool. Okay, the bulk add tool is what we're going to build as well. It's on there's only one screen in this thing, but there's a lot of containers. Okay, now what I want to show you is, I think I selected this as one of them. So let's go in here. Nope, that wasn't it. I'm trying to find one to have more than one person in here. I think the leadership one had it. Nope, leadership don't have anybody in it. Let me find one that's got more than one person in it. I thought one of the documents ones I added. Okay, no, I added one of those. Okay, it turned out that because I had those blank spaces in there, the flow failed when it tripped up on those blank spaces, so it didn't do anything. Alright, so I went ahead and reran it, and now it shows both the accounts in here like they're supposed to be. Now, if you want to delete somebody out of the thing, what you do is you hit the little delete icon here. It'll open up this "Are you sure?" button here. It says, "You're about to delete dummy account." Okay, I don't want to delete myself because I'm an owner. So you hit yes. It'll go through, and I'll delete it. Give it about 10 seconds, and then you can close it. Okay, it will remove them. I'm actually going to put a refresh thing in there. I haven't gotten around to that yet, but it will. Okay, next thing I want to show you is the bulk add tool. Okay, when you click this, it gives you a little screen on how to do all this stuff. Okay, the way I do it is I use Excel, and in the A column I put all the email addresses, one per box down the row, and then in the B column at the top I put a formula called text join, and what it does is it takes the whole array and puts it into a single string. Okay, and this is the command right here that does it, just like that. Okay, except you're going to replace this cell range piece right here with, you're going to encapsulate what you want to grab. I just say just do the whole A column, so you go A:A, or you can actually do it, because this true statement right here, it says ignore true statements, or ignore blank spaces. Okay, that's what that says. And then this is your separator. Okay, you want semicolons. Okay, so do not change that. And that's basically it. Okay, so if we hit continue, it'll close that window and it'll bring you to this one. First thing you're going to do is you're going to select which group you want. As you can see, it's the same list, but you only can do one here. Okay, so I want to add CIP. Okay, when you whatever team you select or group you select, it's going to show the current members over here. So if I grab my T sandbox, which is my main one, that's the one that got created with my development environment that I'm in right now, it's going to have a lot. Okay, there's 24 members. Okay, with this gallery you can have a maximum of 1,000. Okay, or 999. Okay, and I know I misspelled visible. I used to do that a lot for some reason, and I gotta fix that. But as you can see, it shows them all, and you have the ability to remove people from here too, if you need to. Okay, that string you made in Excel, this is where you're going to paste it. you paste it in here, and then you hit add members. So like for instance, I'm going to put, so if I put my email address from my sandbox environment in here, I can't spell today, put a semicolon and another one, which I'm not going to do. All you have to do at this point is hit add members. When you hit add members, it will add that person to the team or that group, and it'll clear it out, and it'll leave this up here for you, so like you can select another one if you want. So like you want to do batches of different teams, you know, you put like multiple people in, you can do it that way. Oh, the big thing about this app is if you're onboarding somebody and you got to add them to 50 or 60 teams, that first screen's work perfect for that. You just got to select them one at a time. That's the only really bad thing. And you put their name in there, and boom, a minute, you know, seconds later, it's done. Now, keep in mind, when you're adding people in this app, it's adding to Azure, which means your applications that you're trying to add people to, it's going to take a little time for replication. You know, I give it at least an hour. Sometimes it's like 10 minutes, sometimes even 2 minutes. It just depends on your network speed and how busy your network is at the time. But I'd say an hour is a good time frame for the wait to them try it. You know, like if you're adding to a Teams, you know you're gonna, the Teams module ain't gonna pop up until it replicates over to the team server. If you're doing it for an email group, like a distribution group, it's gonna take time. Okay. And the other thing is to remember is you have to be an owner to add these members. Okay. Now when you're done, you can hit return to the main screen. And then if you have stuff up here and you made a mistake and you want to start over, you just got to hit reset form, and it'll literally clear the form out. Now up at top here, you'll see common searches. Okay, this is something I made up. You can change these values to anything you want to. These are just general. So if I click ASA, anything with the word ASA in it should pop up in here, which nothing changed. So that's awesome. Now if something in here that it's not listed, you want to see it, you hit other not listed, and then you put your term in here. Okay, now that works. Alright, see, only ones got ASA in them showed up. If I want my last name, okay, see, it filters it down so that way if you got hundreds and hundreds of teams here, it'll work just fine. Okay, and then you want to reset it, you just hit reset filter and it blanks it out. And that pretty much covers the demo of this tool. Now we're going to build it. Okay, so I'm going to take this window out and bring it down here to my other screen so it's not invisible. Okay, so we're back to our team screen. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up a new Power. We're going to create a Power App. Okay. Interesting. There's no Power Apps in Teams. Okay, I guess I'll have to do it from my main screen. Alright, so you go. Now you probably noticed I have a chat here, right? Flow did that. Okay, I have a thing called a Flowbot, and when you can actually have it respond to let you know when it's done. Okay, you probably heard it bling earlier. Okay, as you notice, it only takes like 10 seconds to run these jobs. So as you can see, I ran quite a few here. I didn't put nothing specific in here. Now, in real life, I would put, you know, I'd do like an HTML table that says these people were added to this teams, so that way I know what got done, what got accomplished, and what didn't. But for just this, I just put job is complete, just so I know it finished. Okay, so let's go back here. Go to Power Apps. Once it loads, we're going to go to create a blank app, canvas app, and I'm going to call this video group perm. That works. Okay, hit create. Now it's going to bring us up to our blank screen. Now, of course, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a label to go across the top, right? Like our banner. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename my screen. I'll call it main. And then we're going to insert a label right here. Take it across the screen. I'm going to call this group permission tool. Let's make it a little bigger. Let's make it bold. And then we're going to center it. We'll make the background blue. And make the color white. Now you notice it's a little bigger. The letters are a little big for the space, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so it looks more natural. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to change my background color to blue because I don't like white. Okay. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my gallery for my teams listing, right? So you're going to go in here. You're going to go to Insert. Under Layout, you're going to put Vertical Gallery. Oops. No. Okay, I can fix this, but it should be blank Vertical Gallery, not Vertical Gallery, because we don't want all the extra stuff. So I'm going to change this to blank. There we go. That looks right. Alright, and then I'm going to move this down just a hair because I'm going to put a header in there for it. And then I'm going to move this down I'm going to put this down here because I'm going to leave that open to the bottom a little bit. And then I'm going to move this back over here because I don't need all that space. Alright. Alright. For my items. Sorry, but I'm yawning so much. I'm just really tired today. Alright, for my items, I'm going to, basically we're going to have to add a few data connections, right? The first one is we're going to add Microsoft Teams. Okay? In order to pull Microsoft Teams, you have to have the connector, right? So it can talk to the team server. So we're going to go to connectors. Bring up Microsoft Teams and then select our connection. I do not know why I got so many connections for each thing. The next one I want to grab, because I'm going to be doing searches with Azure, Office 365 users. And then the last one I'm going to add is Microsoft Groups, because that's what's going to bring in all my groups. Okay, so let's bring it down here. Actually, I don't think I need Teams now I think about it, because I originally was using groups or Teams, but since every team has a group, I can do everything with one service. Okay, so we're going to find Microsoft Groups. Where is it? There's Groups Email, Groups. Okay, those are our three main services. Okay, now in here, what we're going to do is we're going to make this a little bigger so it's easier to see. Let's go here. We're going to open up our bar. It's being dumb right now. Okay. Now I copied my formula from other things, but I'm going to explain it to you, okay? Alright, so what we're doing is we're doing Office 365 groups list own groups v2 dot value. Okay, that's basically grabbing a table from the groups connector and pulling in all my information about all the groups that I own. Now later on we are going to create the filter, which is going to be these boxes up here, and we're sorting this alphabetically, and then we're using a variable called varSorting to tell us if we're ascending or descending our thing, which is what you initially set on start. Okay, which we haven't done yet. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this here like it is. We're gonna go back to the on start, and we're going to add our variables in here that needs to be there. So if we go to app on start, I'm going to add these 4 variables in there. Okay. Batch add is for the that bulk upload tool. Same thing for this one. For your team sort is what we're using on our little button, which you'll see here in a little bit. And then var sorting is our sort order. Okay, we're going to start it with sort order descending. Okay, so if we go back here, you'll notice some of the stuff went away. Okay, this drop down don't exist yet, and neither does this text filter. Okay, and that's those 2 filter things right here. So we'll get to that here in a little bit. Matter of fact, let's take out, we're going to take out this, and I'm going to put that in the next row. We're going to comment this out, and we're going to comment this out. So basically, we literally just got our list. Okay, I'm not going to do any kind of sorting or anything, so it's going to be a little funky at first. And later on, you'll see it'll be fixed. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add, I got to go in here. We're going to make it, you know, pretty decently small. And then we're going to insert a text label. Oops. We're going to move it back to the beginning. Well, we'll put it right here. And then we're going to come over a good distance. Oh, right there works. Okay. We're going to change this to this item display name. Okay. As you can see, it brought up all our groups. Now, because of the way it's set up, it's not going to show scroll bars. Okay. So if I select all my stuff here, well, it'll show scroll bars. Now I selected the gallery. I was inside the item. So one thing I always do is on these galleries, I got scroll bars. I turn the scroll bars off and I turn on navigation. I think it looks more professional. Okay. And then what I want to do here is I want to reduce the height of our font. Okay, it defaults to 13. I like 10. And then I'm going to shrink up my text box, and then I'm going to shrink up this so it shows more on one page. Okay. And that is our gallery. Okay, now it's showing all our stuff. So if we hold Alt down, you come down here, you can see it steps through all our groups here. Okay, and once you hit the bottom, it'll disappear. Okay, there's our list of gallery items. Okay, but we're not done. Next thing we got to do is we got to have a way of selecting it. You can have this select the whole row or whatever, but because I'm using buttons at the end of my row, I can't really do that, because when I select the button, it's gonna use the gallery selection before my button selection. Okay, so what I'm going to do is inside this gallery here, I'm going to add a plus button. Okay, so we're going to go here. We're going to go down to, I'm going to type the word add, and I'm going to get an add symbol. Okay, and we're going to move it over here, and I'm going to come over here, basically make it the same size, and then I'm going to move it to the far right. Okay, what this plus sign is going to do, it's going to add that selection to the collection. Okay, And I'm going to make a collection called My Teams. And what it's going to do, it's going to pass two pieces of information: the ID and the display name. Okay. So we go up here. We don't need select parent, but we can leave it in there if you want, or you can take it out. It doesn't matter. This is what I want to do. I want it to collect these two pieces of information. So like if you click right here, you'll see that it has an ID, and at the end of that selection it has a display name. Okay. So if I click here and I add it, I can double click on My Teams, and when you open up My Teams, see what it did? It grabbed knowledge management and it grabbed the ID of that team. Okay. Now later on, we're going to put that little person in there when we make the container for the members, but we're not going to worry about it right now. Alright, next what I'm going to do is we're going to put a label across the top so they know what they're selecting from, right? So I'm going to click out of the gallery. I'm trying to figure out why this has such a big border around it. That's weird, because I don't remember putting a border around it. It says 0. Icon, label. That's really weird. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's put our label up here. Okay, so I'm gonna click off of it. Text label. Now this I do want a border on because it's a label, so we'll go like 2, and I'll make it black. Okay, and then we're going to change the text. Group selection. I'm going to center it. Background color, we'll do like green. Color black. And we're going to make it bold. There. It says group selection. Okay. Now one thing I want to do is be able to sort this stuff, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a button in here. So I'm going to select my label again. So I want my sort button. Makes it gigantic, but so we'll just go over here like this, place it there, and then on select, I'm going to do update context, var sort. Var sorting, I think is what, no. Var sorting, colon, whoops, I forgot to put the record. When you use an update context, you got to use a record symbol there at the beginning. Then we're going to go exclamation, var sorting. And then we're going to go this. So basically whatever it's sorting by, that's what it's doing. So you come back in here and you type in sort, and then at the end, whoops, of value, we're going to say what we're subsorting. We're going to go display name, and then we're going to go var sorting. Okay, and then close it. See what var sorting set at. It didn't like that, did it? So let's go ahead. Oh, I know why it's not working. I forgot to run on start. So let's go ahead and do our run on start. So I get our variables established. And then go back over here. Oh, it's still not happy. Well, let's just do sort order ascending for right now. Okay, it was okay with that. Let me see if it actually... var sorting is actually working. So let's go back in here. Yeah, it's not liking that for some reason. So we'll just stick with this for right now. You need a variable in here because you need to be able to flip it. Okay. So you see what it did? It put their group in front of the all company, which it is sorting ascending. It's what you want. We'll fix the sorting a little later. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Alright, so there we got that in there. And now we're going to put up our collection for the teams that we select. Other thing we want to put in here on these plus symbols, once we put it in that collection, we need to make it so you can't click it a second time. So let's click on the plus sign. We're going to go to display mode. We don't want to make it disappear, we just want to change it so you can't click it again. Okay, so you're going to go if hold on a second, let me check something real quick. I want to make sure I'm doing this right. So different when you're actually building it. Okay, so if you go, you're going to go if count rows filter my teams name equals title2.text. So I got to figure out what the name of this thing is. It's label 2. Okay. Label2.text equals 0. Whoops. equals 0, we want it to disable it. We want it, if it equals 0, to edit it, otherwise I want it disabled. Okay? Okay, so it's getting mad about, oh, I know why. The count rows is all jacked up. If count rows, filter my teams, name level 2, equals 0, edit disabled. There we go. So anything that lives, so basically anything that lives in my teams, which you'll notice if we open up my teams collection, knowledge management's the only one that's in there, right? You'll notice the knowledge management one just went gray. That's what you want. Okay, so now let's make our gallery for our my teams. Okay, so we're going to go insert. We're going to do blank vertical gallery this time. Or wait, no, we want vertical gallery. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a wrap. Okay, so you go blank vertical gallery. You're going to move him over here. Okay, wide as the screen, but you don't want it all the way down. Okay, because we got to have another section in here still. Okay, so we go edit. We're going to make this. Keep clicking the wrong part. We're going to make it about that tall. And then on our wrap count, we're going to make this like 5 because our team names ain't going to be that long. Okay, I want it to go 5 rows across. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to set our items. Okay, so go in here, and it's going to be literally simply my teams. Okay, and right now we only got one thing in there, so let's go ahead and add our text box, our label I mean. Okay, now I'm gonna make this a little smaller. We'll do like 9. Yeah, that works, because we want an ability to remove stuff out of here if we need to, right? So we're gonna add a cancel button in here. So we're going to go insert. We're going to put in a cancel button. And of course we're going to make it smaller. So make it, the height is 23. So I'll set the width to 23. And then we're going to move this right there. Now it's still a little big. So let's make it a little smaller. So we'll do it like 15. And then we're going to bring it down like, see where 5 puts it. That works. So as you can see, it's got your name and it's got the X to the right of it. Okay, so if you want to remove it, you can. And the way you remove it is on the on select. You basically just go remove my teams, which is my map style. My teams, this item, close it. Okay, so if you want it gone, you just select the X and it disappears and my thing comes back. So if we go here, 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 see what I mean? It creates your little pool for you. Okay. Now, when you select a team, those are those groups are what you're going to add that person to. Okay. So now that we got that in there, we're going to put our label across the top, stating that this is our team selection, or our selected group. Sorry. So I'm going to put a label up above my thing here. Well, we want to move this down just a little bit because we need to make room for our filter up here. Okay. So let's go. Now you can almost add all your teams in here. Plus, if it doesn't fit the screen, it will have a scroll bar that you can configure how you want it. So let's go ahead and add a label in here. Bring it down, probably right here. Bring it across. We'll call this selected teams. Whoops. Groups. I gotta get used to saying groups, not teams. Okay. We'll make this like 20. We'll make it bold. We're gonna center it. We'll make the background color like black, and then our color, we'll make it white. Okay, so make it stand out a little bit. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna fill in the space here. Alright. Now, there's our selected groups. Now, I'm going to make my filter, which I forgot to do earlier, how to filter these. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to put you can simply just do a text box if you want to, but the text box is what makes it work. Okay? So the way I had my app set up is I had common searches where you can just select what you want, so you don't have to type anything. What I did is I transferred that data into the text box, and then I use the text box to filter my stuff. But for this, we're just going to use the text box for now. I can show you how later on. I'll show you how to integrate the drop down if you want to. Whoops, not that. I want a text input because we want to type stuff into it, right? A label you can't type into. Alright, so let's go over here. Of course, I'm not going to have it quite that big. There, that works. Okay. And of course, it's not going to say text input in there. Okay, so I'm going to, if I can get to it, we're going to remove the text input out of there. Okay, it's going to make it so you can type anything you want in there. Okay, and then I want to add a filter here. I want to add a box here so that way, a label, so people know what this thing does. Okay, so we're going to go let's put enter filter value. Okay, so that way you can type in here whatever you want. Alright, so I'm going to change the name of text input 1. We'll go TXT to identify the type of control it is. Filter text. Okay, so we come back over here, and now we're going to put a filter in here. Okay, figure out why my drop down thing's not working. Alright, so I'm going to just get rid of this. God dang it. What just happened? It's not default. Lost my items for some reason. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to delete all this out. Okay, so now we're going to use this to filter. So we're going to go filter, and then inside here, before the comma, we're going to go comma, whatever that text input is, right? Text, filter, tell since isn't going to work right until I get, what was it? Oh, it never changed. I thought I hit enter. Okay, let's try this again. Text filter dot text in display name. Okay, and then we're going to close it. Not recognizing this display name for some reason. Why does it keep doing that? It keeps jumping me out of this thing. We had a little letter in there. You'll notice, because this is a blank value, it doesn't do anything. Now watch. If I start typing in here, it filters. Just depends on what I type in there. That's how you filter this. Okay? And then you go in here and you select your teams that you want, and boom, it's all working. Alright, so we're making good progress. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our search box for our name, right? So right here's our thing. So we're going to put, I'm going to put it about right here, and then I'm going to put in my drop down here. Okay, so now for this part you have to use a combo box because you need to be able to search. Okay, so come down to you open up input and you find combo box. Okay, so bring our combo box down. So we'll start about right here, open it up a little bit, we're going to make it a little smaller, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put in the following. Since we're talking about ourselves, we're going to go self.search text, and then over here we're going to get rid of this and type self. That way if you change the name, it ain't going to matter. Okay? Now, because we're dealing with the combo box, there's a few things you always have to do. First thing you have to do is you're going to hit edit, and we're going to change the city to display name. Because we're not searching for a city, we're just searching for a display name. Okay? The other thing is you're going to have to turn off multiple selections. Okay? Because we're only going to do one name at a time. You can put multiple people in here, but you have to do one name at a time initially, because otherwise the collection won't form properly that you need to create. Okay? So, and then another thing I do is I go under advanced, I come down here to find items, I put in something in there so they know what they got to search for. Okay. You'll notice down here it says display name and display name. That's what you want. Okay. Now what we're going to do is, once it resolves, we're going to click a button to the right of the combo box, and it's going to add it to it's going to add that person's name to each of the, it's going to create an entry in a collection for each team that's selected and put their username in there, so it knows who they're assigning to that team or that group. Okay, that's literally the only configuration that needs to be done. Okay, so what you're going to do now is we're going to add a couple buttons to the right of it. So let's go insert person. No, I want the person with the add button next to it, so add user. It's actually what we're doing, right? So we'll put it to the right of it. We're going to make it about the size of the box. Okay, and then inside here we're going to do this. Now this thing does a few things, so you got to be aware. Okay, and we'll go over it here in a second once I get the command copied over. I'm not retyping all this stuff. Alright, so first thing it's going to do, it's going to do a for all, and it's going to envelop, let's see, what gallery is this? It's not gallery 6, obviously, gallery 2. So let's change that over to gallery 2. It uses the team selection gallery as our source. Okay, and then it creates a collection called call users, and what it does is it writes 4 pieces of information. It makes 4 columns and adds it to the collection. Okay, first is the username, which is going to get from this combo box here, which I need to name it. We'll go CB username. Okay, we're going to copy this, and then we're going to go back onto our button. We'll open the screen back up, and as you can see, it already changed it. Okay, group ID is going to get the group ID from the gallery. Okay, what we need is to know what this name is right here, which is probably something I didn't change. So I'm going to go txt group name, Okay, and then I'll put that inside this formula. Okay, and then the last thing we got to add is the is owner checkbox. Okay, right now there is no is owner checkbox. We need to know whether they're going to be just a member or they're going to be an owner, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to insert a checkbox, and the checkbox is under input right here. About here, we're going to put our thing in here. Let's shrink it up a little bit. We don't need it quite that big. Now the checkbox is bigger than I like, so I'm going to come in here, go under properties, and there's a font size which is too big too, so let's make that 10. And then there is a checkbox size which is 40 right now, and let's make that like 20. 20 is a little small. Let's do 25. And that works. Okay. So our option is going to not say option. It's going to say make owner. Okay. It lets the person know that's setting this up. Hey, do you want to make them an owner or not? Alright, so let's go ahead and let's separate this a little bit. Okay, that's fine. Now, checkbox, we'll just do CKBX owner. Okay. So I'm going to copy that. Now this one ain't automatically going to go in here. Oh, it might actually, now I think about it. Yep, it did. I think because it originally was the same name as that. I didn't think I renamed it in my app, but as you see now this is working right. And then it says what it does is it looks for the first entry, and if it's blank, I want you to remove it. Otherwise, it just ignores everything else, right? And then it creates. I'm creating a variable called var.json, because what I have to do is I have to pass JSON to Flow in order for it to add the members. Okay, so what it's going to do, it's going to convert the collection here to JSON right here for me. And then once you're done with that, it's going to clear out the username and the owner. It's going to clear out these two boxes so you can put your next name in there, okay, if you need to. Then once it's done, now when you go to add it at the end, it's going to take that whole collection and push it into SharePoint or into Flow, which will then write the values. Okay, and we'll get to that probably in the next video. Alright, so right now, like I said, I try to keep it at an hour, so we'll do one more thing and then we'll cut this one off and start the next one, the next part. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to need a third gallery to house the Cole user. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come down here, just click in a blank spot in the canvas, and we're going to go insert, and we're going to do another vertical gallery under layout, blank vertical gallery. We're going to shrink this way down. We do not need it that big. Okay, I'm going to put it right here. This is going to be who's currently selected, so they know who they put in. Okay, and I'm going to have it go all the way across the screen. And then on my wrap count, I'll do like 4. And then my template size, I'm going to make this like 25. I don't need a humongous space, right? Now for our items, so let's flip this back to items. I'm going to set this to Cole users. The problem with this is being co-users, if you put a name in twice, it's going to put the name twice in here. Okay, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the distinct function. Okay, so we'll go distinct co-users, and then I want to show, I only want the username, and then we're going to close it, which will create our table, as you can see here, right? But now we're going to come in here and we're going to insert a label. Slide this to the left here, and in our label it's going to be our username. Value, sorry. Okay, now if you want, you can put a removal thing on here too if you want. Thing is, it won't remove. Problem is, you can't, if you wanted to do if you want to remove the name from everything, you got to remove all the items with that name on there, and you have to do it for all. It gets a little complicated. So for right now, I think the best way to keep it simple, just be careful who names you put in there. Now remember, every team you have selected up top, it's going to put their name on that team name as a separate item. Okay, so be careful when you put your names in. Okay, and at the end, if we have some time, I'll show you how to do the for all for this one if you want. Okay, so if we run this and we go, I want to put my name in here, I select my name. Now before you hit this person thing, you got to decide if you want to make them an owner or not. If you want to make them owner, hit the checkbox, and then you hit this. You'll notice my name popped up down here. Okay, so let's come out of play. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so if I open up co-users and I open this up, I want the actual table. See what it did? It created 3 rows because there's 3 teams. Is owner turned to all true, and then it got the ID of each of the teams, and then it put my username in all 3 of them. Okay, it's going to use this information to make the JSON. Okay, now if you want a second person, you put a second person's name in there and it'll work just fine. You notice that it cleared out my name and it reset this box because that's what it wanted. And as far as the video goes, we're going to stop there for now. Actually, let's do one more thing before I call it quits. I'll move this down just a little bit, and I'm going to put a label up here so people know that this is the selected users. Okay, so they're not confused. Alright, so we're going to put a text label there. We're going to drop it down. Alright, let's move this across here. We'll change this to selected users, and then we're gonna make this a little, we'll make this like 20, so it's a little bigger. We're gonna bold it. I'll leave it line centered left. I mean, we're gonna make this white, and then our background color, we'll do light green. No, let's do dark green. Yeah, it looks better. Alright, I'm just trying to make it colorful so it's easy to see. See, don't that look a little better? I'm going to, you shouldn't have that many users, so I'm going to bring this down just a little bit so it's not so crowded. As you can see, our page is filling out nicely, so we are currently right at 1 hour and 5 minutes, so I'm going to stop here and we'll start the next part from here. So see you in part 2.